Master your life today by quitting THC. There's a few things that happen when you quit THC, especially in the long term. This includes marijuana, dabs, flower, whatever, however you want to put it, concentrates, maybe edibles. And these things happen if over time you stay with sobriety. And a lot of amazing things can come from quitting marijuana and getting it out of your life. I've seen it for myself, I've seen it for others, and that inspired me to make this video to tell you guys about it, because I know, especially if you're in the thick of it, if you're in the process of quitting, it can really seem quite bleak. And although you know you're supposed to be doing this, like on a soul level, you're like, I have to quit. I have to quit. There's a part of you that might be like, well, my life might suck after this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I thought that too. I just knew that if I kept using, I was gonna end up somewhere either dead or in jail, where even the simple things I would no longer get to do. So I was like, although life might suck, at least it won't suck in prison. So when you quit THC, what might happen is you might be able to start thinking clearly. You might be able to start looking at reality as reality, not this kind of space bubble that you may have been living in. That was like it was for me. I was living in a la la land of fantasy, of video games, of junk food, just not really taking life seriously. And because of it, I had serious ramifications in real life. So once I got clean, I started to look at life objectively, like more as like an adult, not as a child anymore. Like, okay, I gotta pay my bills. Okay, I got to go to work every day. Well, I don't got to, but I'm gonna choose to because I wanna survive and like be independent and not rely on my parents or anything like that. So I really had to get serious about that and say, okay, if I start working on something, odds are something good's gonna come up from it, right? Like just by law of nature. I remember when I was back in high school and stuff, before I became a degenerate, I was pretty motivated, right? I put my mind to things. For example, for sports, I'm like, okay, if I train all summer and run every single day, I'm probably gonna be a lot better next season. And I ended up being our top runner on varsity and also being captain, which is pretty cool. Same with school. Come junior year, I was like kind of, putzing around. I had decent grades, but like not great. And I got in some trouble actually because of weed. So my family was like, okay, you really got to start taking life serious. So I had to get a job, which I didn't like, but hey, that's what happened. I didn't have as great of a social life, and it really motivated me to start working hard at school because there wasn't really anything else to do anymore. So I started focusing hard on school, and I got into a D1 college. I wouldn't have gotten into that college had I just kept putzing around like I had freshman and sophomore year. So that showed me and gave me the experience that if you work hard towards something for a prolonged period of time, you can get a reward from it. So I focused that energy into music for myself and for just work and just kind of building finances and all that stuff. Today, my finances are a lot better than they were. I'll just say it like that. And I have momentum towards a career I really like. The music didn't work out, but I get to do it for fun. And if it wasn't for music, I probably wouldn't have gotten into YouTube because I was like, it would be cool if I made YouTube videos and put my own music over it. And that was a real inspiration to do YouTube. And now I'm talking to you today. So it all kind of worked itself out, even though obviously when I was starting to make music, I wasn't like, all right, this is going to lead to a marijuana YouTube channel. Yeah, no, it just kind of happened that way. So if you start putting your focus into things that have a potential long-term benefit, unlike smoking weed, where you smoke weed and then you have to go buy more weed and then the cycle continues, towards once you start putting that energy and time into career, to relationships, to whatever it may be that gives you hope and inspiration and passion and joy and all that stuff, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, you may be looking at your life and be like, holy crap, I cannot believe this is my life right now. Thank God I made that decision to quit when I quit, because otherwise I'd still be living that life. And so that leads into the next thing that happens when you quit marijuana, THC, dabs, is you start getting to participate in the flow of life. You're not in the same habitual cycle where you know, okay, this is gonna happen tomorrow, and then the next day, and the next day. You start to life starts to carry you on a journey. It's like almost like you were in a little paddle boat in a small lake, and now you're in a river, and life gets to carry you down the river. You're gonna have all kinds of different adventures, different experiences, moments of, oh my God, I gotta make sure I don't drown here. And then moments of peace, because you figured out a big problem, you resolved it, and now you get to experience the reward. So you get to start living, as we like to call it, living life on life's terms. This is hard for a lot of people. This was very hard for me. I wanted to be in control. I was afraid to let go and let life dictate my life in a way, because I had a deep feeling. For me, example, I really wanted to DJ, man. I really wanted to tour the world and, you know, play at Ultra Music Festival and all these big festivals. Something in my heart of hearts knew though that this probably wasn't going to happen. And how I see it now, one, because let's be frank, the music wasn't good enough. If it was, I would have gotten signed by now. Two, it's like I'm in recovery. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs or anything. So it doesn't really make sense that my career is me partying in the late hours of the night with a bunch of other people that are drunk and are using substances and stuff. So it just didn't really make sense with the alignment my life was going. This YouTube channel makes a lot more sense, right? Talking about recovery, talking about weed and all that and how to quit, and through it getting to talk to you guys. So because I surrendered and said, all right, life, you know, I might not like the direction you're taking me. However, I trust that if I stick with it long enough, I will start to enjoy it. And I definitely enjoy doing YouTube and doing these videos, and I've been able to build the start of a career out of it. So that's been very cool. And it's all because I let go and said, life, you can take me, you can do what you want with me. I surrendered. I surrendered to your will, to what you have in store for me. So that is something that gets to happen when you quit, when you're not constantly under the influence of weed, where you can start to hear the messages life is trying to give you. Whether you call it God, Jesus, Buddha, whatever, a doorknob, it doesn't matter. As long as it's something that's greater than yourself, that's outside of yourself, but that's not like a person or a substance or anything like that. So you start to listen, you start to hear, and then you get to make decisions based on the intuition that you get and that life gives you, right? I couldn't listen to my intuition when I was stoned. My only intuition said, go get more weed, go smoke again, pack another bowl, blah, 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 blah. And the trajectory of my life really mirrored that. When you start saying, hey, you know, I'm getting this intuition to start a YouTube channel or to start a business or to reach out to my family or whatever it might be, that's when life starts to pick up and you get to have really cool experiences. And who knows where you'll be 4 or 5 years from now. That's why I keep saying, it's taking a gamble on yourself. Am I willing to go all in on me versus all in on this herb that turns into a bunch of black ash and that tastes and smells terrible? And the final thing that gets to happen, obviously there's much more, is you get to start having really cool relationships with people. You get to be what we call being human. Wow, super profound, right? But it's true, a lot of us spend a lot of time in isolation, especially when we're using. I did for sure, man. I was such a hermit. I didn't have friends. The only friends I had were people that would come over and buy weed for me. So were they really friends? No. They were customers. It took a long time I'm not gonna lie, it took a lot of time to learn how to have healthy relationships and how to have healthy boundaries. I think that's a big thing, because one of the patterns I got into was I was either all in with friends or I was completely out, which meant everyone was my life or I was gonna be completely alone. And both of those were extremes that didn't work. I cannot be so enmeshed with somebody that we become like one entity, right? I don't find that healthy anymore. I don't find that sane. I don't find that enjoyable. I like when we can come together for a short period and then part ways, and then come together again, part ways, right? That makes it a lot more fun. It helps me remember that we're all individual people. And so that's something I got to learn because I stopped using marijuana. Because I'm like, okay, these 9 hours a day I was spending on focusing on smoking marijuana, I'm gonna focus on it, on how to have healthy relationships through watching YouTube videos, through going to different support groups. I had multiple therapists for a long time. And through that, I got to learn different skills and techniques and just awareness around how to have relationships that work, that are enjoyable, that are fun, and that last, right? That aren't like a bowl where you just smoke it real quick and then it's gone, right? Where you can just build a relationship with somebody until one day you're just homies and it's like, wow, this is really cool. Same with dating too, man. That's a whole nother topic, but I could not date to save my life. I was so afraid. I had no idea how to talk to women, which is what my preference is. And it was something I always wanted, right? And it was something I always longed for. And a lot of the reason I smoked was because I wasn't able to have long-term romantic relationships, and it was really painful. So once I got clean, it took a few years because I really had to get myself straight, right? Get on my path, like I talked about in the other two examples. Once I started to do that, I was able to start putting that time into dating and understanding how to have relationships with women, how to be a guy that is attractive and that women want to be around. That was another thing too. I was so nervous and so afraid and so anxious that most women didn't really want anything to do with me because they want strength, they want confidence, they want charisma. And once I started developing those things and learning that was in me, like I can actually do these things, it's opened up a whole new world that I still like lay in bed sometimes and I'm just like, is this for real? Is this actually for real? It's like a dream. And all because of that one decision I made almost 8 years ago to put down weed and never look back. So whatever that might be for you, whatever your big dream or that longing you have in your soul to experience out of life, you can get that, you can achieve it. In some degree. You might not be an NBA star, I'm not gonna lie to you, or a professional football player. But who knows, maybe if you you really focus your time in learning the industry, you can still become a part of that, whether it be like working in, the sports arena, whatever, maybe you're really skilled, you can be a coach in some degree. Who knows, man? The possibilities are endless, and it all starts with that one decision. So comment down below if you are in the process of making this decision for yourself, and or if you have and you're starting to experience some really cool things in life. Give that motivation to the other folks who might not believe this message quite yet, because I know I didn't, and I'm sure you didn't either, but once you start experiencing it, you start to believe. So with that, guys, we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.